Thank you very much again for having me. I'm thrilled to be here in this, weird condition, but it's still really important for me to share with the community, even though the situation is not easy for everyone. So I hope you are all okay, all safe. If you have any question during the presentation, don't hesitate to use the Q&A, and also don't hesitate to contact me on social media like Twitter or LinkedIn. You have my link below. So I designed this presentation basically because a lot of people ask me, so I know how to do product management, but what is at stake when you start to have one team, two team, three team, 10 team, sometime more, and how should we organize? Well, so I put all my ideas together. It's ideas that come from several experiments that I have in the past, one including Deezer. So first, one quick intro. I'm Benoît. So I'm VP product at Deezer. So I'm running the entire product team, and I'm working at Deezer since 2 years now. And before, I was a product director at an awesome company called Enablen. It's a software company that provides EHS software for the big companies. So a few words about Deezer for those who don't know Deezer. So it's a worldwide music streaming service. So we provide music to more than 14 million monthly active users. We have more than 15 million tracks. So it's a huge catalog, and we are open in 180 countries. So it's a vast and big product to run, I have to say. So let's back up a bit and imagine that we are a small startup. And at the beginning, it was simple, right? You have I don't know, probably 1 or 2 developers. You are opening one country, and you have one app. So it's pretty simple, and you use simple methodology, and you iterate. You can say Agile, no issue here. But a bit further down the road, you start to be a bit more. So you start to have 2 teams and to be open in more countries. So you have to manage things like languages, and you start to want to not only on, for example, on Android. So you start to be on iOS, and then you need to build a web version. So it's a lot of challenges that you face already. And then you enter a situation where you are scale up, something a bit like Deezer. And you enter with something like 6 teams, 180 countries. I said that before. You have more than 100 products. At Deezer, we are obviously on iOS, Android, but also on various desktops. We are on smartwatches, we're on smart TVs. We are connected with various carriers around the globe, on smart speakers, on headsets, on cars, and we have a bunch of B2B partner deals. So it's, again, I said before, it's a huge product to run. And so we have a lot of issues along the road to manage all those people and countries and product. But it's not it when you're a product manager, actually, because you also have to manage, and it's in front of your agility and velocity. You have to manage various languages. I said that before. Some cultural gaps, because, for example, for music, you don't use music streaming service where you're in Paris or where you're in Rio or where you're in Lebanon. It's not the same. So you have to manage that. Along the road, when you're a company like Deezer, you have some technical debt that you have to manage. You have requests from the support. You have requests for your salespeople, especially if you're on B2B or you're working on B2B activity, which is the case for Deezer. You always have some communities online that can be on Twitter, Facebook, Reddit. We have also our own community, so it's a lot of requests. You lose some knowledge along the road because some people quit, and you also suffer a lot of time in the lack of documentation. Maybe you're lucky, but in a lot of companies nowadays, it's one of our pain points. You can face some management pressure that want to achieve something, and you have, especially in my industry, you have some competition pressure, so you need to deliver up to the competition. So you end basically like this guy, and for me, let me say that product is probably one of the most overwhelming job in the tech, because you have to manage so many things, and you are kind of the middle of the company, especially if you're running a digital product. And so it starts to be overwhelming. So let's try to see if we can find some solution and better organize ourselves to reduce this pressure and this overwhelm. So to me, I put 4 keywords that seems obvious, but in some cases is not. If you want to run successful product at scale, the first one is organization. Second one is collaboration. Third one is prioritization, and the last one is communication. So let's deep dive and see what we have in mind for those keywords. So the first one, organization. Again, that sounds so obvious, but you need to change your organization, use your organization like a product, test things until you find something that works for your company. So one part of the organization is what we call Agile product organization. So basically the organization that was explained by one company that is doing also music streaming based out of Sweden and have a green logo. So I won't go into much detail because first of all, it's really well explained, and I don't have any value in this. So go on Google and you will find some great documentation and feedback about this. But what I'm really interested about is about more how you set up your team. And one thing that also seems obvious, but it's not that obvious in some companies, is from my perspective, you need to organize your teams to give each one a clear mission and clear objectives. So you will see a lot of debate in the product tech world about should be in component team, in feature team. Now, I have to say that my preferred choice is about what I call feature team, objective team, sorry, teams that are really focused about one objective. And let's go see one example that is a silly example of a B2C product. So those 4 teams everyone has a clear mission. The first one is about growth, and they need to acquire and convert new users. The second one is about engagement. It's about drive stickiness and avoid churn. The third one is platform. It's to give the right infrastructure and the right tool. And the last one is content. It's to put content within your product. For us, content is music, but for B2B product, you also have some content if you are running a software, for example. So those teams are not about I'm building an iOS app or I'm building this feature. It's about really having a goal and making sure that everyone understands to what goals they can contribute. And this is, I think, key. So you can really engage all teams across success and performance. So the first thing is about the mission. The second thing is about setting objectives. Why is you will still face issues down the road. You can have 2 teams with clear objective, but if you don't set up common goals, they will probably fight against each other. Let me give you one silly example. You give one team of the growth team, like you need to increase the number of people that will sign up within our product. You need new people that will register. And if they do it in a silly way, they will say, okay, I will probably reduce my acquisition funnel or my sign-up process. But maybe the engagement team needs some part of this engagement on this acquisition process to create some engagement and to drive stickiness, because the early days of a user is really important. So you need to get the maximum signal when you welcome people within your service. So the growth team may hurt some engagement KPI, which is bad for you because you don't care that much about one single KPI. You want your product to be healthy in all vertical we saw. So my advice again is to use the OKRs to align a team about clear and engaging objectives. So OKR at the objective framework of Google. It's also well documented on the web, so you can go there. But basically, if we go back to our example, what does it mean is it really helps to sync teams. So for example, you will set up for both objectives, like guys, you need to boost user acquisition and reach 10K new user per week, but still you need to keep the stickiness above 60%. So if you do that, and if it's clear for both teams, the growth team will have to watch the stickiness and make sure that what they do don't destroy the stickiness. So if you are running A/B tests or things like that, they will have to figure this out and revert if they do something that will hurt the engagement KPI. So OKRs are a really great team to engage everyone. One thing I want to also mention, some new jobs are rising in the product area nowadays and can really help you also to boost collaboration in, you know, in this metrics environment where we have our squads or tribe and or things like that. First of all, this is one job that we have at Deezer and I really love it. It's a product strategist. So the role of a product strategist is basically to look at the future. So now they're working in 2021, not 2020. The reason they are doing that is if you want to be aligned with your team, you need a clear vision of what the future has to offer. And also in a really competitive market, you need to be prepared and you need to watch and be ready for the future. So product strategy is really good for that. And so when you start the year, you have everything that is ready for the teams to pick up within a clear product strategy for the year. And the second job is a product ops. So think of the product ops as a CEO for the product group. So if you have a transversal issue across your teams, a product ops will tackle it. If you have a transversal project, a product ops will tackle it. And it's really convenient because again, in this modern agile world where you have your teams, if you come to remember this growth, engagement, and platform and content teams, and you say, okay, I have this really important feature, it's across all team, and we need to do it. Everyone will agree on principle, but when they do their own prioritization, it will be difficult for it to prioritize the thing that is cross startup because or cross team because they think that their own things to do, their own roadmap is more important for their own objective. So product ops can help to run those transversal task, and more and more companies are trying to hire this profile, and I think it's really interesting. So number two, collaboration. Again, seems obvious, we need to collaborate each other, but in a lot of cases it's not that obvious and it's not that easy. Remember all those things that I mentioned before. You can have the perfect organization, perfect number one, all the teams, perfect OKRs and stuff like that, but it won't disappear, it won't go away, it will still be something complex for you guys to manage. So first advice, before you collaborate with others, which is really important when you are a product group, you need to collaborate among yourself. So among your group, and especially product and tech. So for example, at Deezer, we did several things. So the first thing is like, we have what we call weekly kickoff. So every week start with a 30-minute catch up with all the leaders. And so we can align ourselves and communicate about progress, issues, and everything that come along the road is solved here or just after. So it's really helped to communicate and synchronize. We also do what we call product meetups. So it's internal meetups that we launch where product, tech, QA, data are invited, and user research also. And basically we share our roadmap, we share our pain, we share our best practices, we share some data insights, some user research insights, some design insights. And so it helps to have a better group, better communication, better alignment. And it's always good to be all together. Then from my perspective, you really need to create multiple channels to collect all the feedback that you have around in what I say single and consistent way. So what does that mean by that? So at Deezer, again, remember we are open in 180 countries. I think we have something like 7 offices around the world. We have 14 million monthly active users. We have a bunch of people around the globe that are talking about Deezer, and we need to collect all this and make sense out of this that is not in the same format. So what do we do? First of all, we create something that is called the RAP, the Region Ambassador Program. So some product managers and myself, we are talking on a regular basis to our local teams to collect what we call market feedback. So it's really important when especially when you are based out of Paris and you operate in countries like Brazil or the Middle East. It's not the same usage of your product, so you need to be aware of what's going on. Sometimes the network is not the same, the phone are not the same, so you need to understand what's going on in those markets. So we connect with users and we connect with markets. We also connect with users via support, so it's something that is really important for me. we send every product manager at Deezer 2 days per year doing support within the support team. So product managers go into the support building, and then they are doing support ticket and solving support ticket for 2 days. We're doing that because as product manager, we need empathy. We need empathy with our users, and so we need to be closer to the pain that they have. If you create virtual interface between people, like for us, it's like I'm a customer, I'm unhappy with Deezer. I send a ticket to the support send a ticket to Jira, to a product manager. It's too many interface. Sometimes you need human connection. When you are at support, you have this human connection, and so you feel the pain. And so if you feel the pain, you can be a better product manager and understand when you deliver something that you need to deliver something clean and take into account your customer pain. We also do UX session with our design friends and UX research friends. So a lot of time we invite people to discover new features or discuss about new ideas, and we'll welcome them. And we have some planned user session on a regular basis to make that. And obviously we have data insight coming from our great data team, and that drive, for example, some issues on bad performance or well performance, and then we take that into account. So all those kind of information or weak signals that we have around, we put it in what we call a product initiative. So what is a product initiative? A product initiative is first a problem statement. So our users have a problem with these features, is not efficient enough, or they have trouble to subscribe in this country, or this or that, but it's really a problem statement. It's not really interesting to put solution here, but it's really about the problem that our users encounter. And it will evolve in 3 phases. First, of course, this is the most important, where PM has the most involved problem. So we have a problem, guys. Then to work with user research, to work with tech, and to work mostly with design to find the best solution to our problem, and then to work with our tech people to develop, and then to do this cycle again. So if you want to start and imagine what is a product initiative, I really advise that you start looking at what Intercom is doing. And the simplest template that you can find around is called the Intercom Intermission. And I really love this template because it's makes things simple. It's a one-pager where you put mostly a problem, and then you have job stories and how you measure success. And you can look in the notes below. But basically, if you cannot have your problem well stated in a text matter in one page, it means that your problem is too big and you won't be able to find an easy solution. Because at the end of the day, the more smaller you can have your problem stated, the more straightforward will be your solution and easy to implement. By the way, I will put the link in one slide at the end of the presentation, so you will be able to copy it, or I will send the link on my Twitter and LinkedIn account just after the presentation. So number 3, prioritization. It's also really important, and it's probably one of the biggest pains that we have when we are running a big product organization. What should we do? What are our next priorities? So I do suggest that you try what I call prioritization metrics. So you have several prioritization methodology around. One that I think the most well-known in products is called RICE. I don't use RICE. It's, I know it's a bit fuzzy for me. I use things that are more straightforward, or I see them working, so I'm comfortable with them. And this is one priority metric that I encourage you to use. And I will also share the link of this metric so you can play with it on Airtable. But basically, it's really easy. You put all your product initiative, remember all your problem statements, you put there in order, and then you will rank them according to criteria that you decide. So for example, it can be, can we be seen as innovative company? Should we provide customer value or business value on B2B, or brand awareness, or should we be more efficient? So basically you create your column, and then you rank the initiative against those columns. Then you work with the tech team to do some technical assessment. And for that, don't do something complicated, because at the end of the day, from my perspective, technical assessment are almost always false. So let's spend you know, 5 minutes per line, do a quick technical assessment, and then it will create a priority score. And obviously the priority score will help you to prioritize. In this example, the most higher the score is, the most important it is to do this priority. But the magic of this matrix is not here. The magic is about the ponderation. So I create two metrics here with two different ponderations. So the good thing within the priority score is you put some weight on every column. So for example, your CEO tell you, I want this quarter or year to be mostly about innovation. I want to be seen as an innovative company. So put really the focus on the innovation. So if you do that and you put 50% innovation, 10% customer value and beyond, you will have a score with the problems that are the most innovative first. If your CEO is telling you now it's time for efficiency, you do the opposite and you put 50% on efficiency, and then it will reverse the order. So it's really good because to me, it gives the final cut to the CEO, but more importantly, it gives back to you the ownership of putting the right problems and evaluate the right problem and put it in front of your CEO. So I do think it's a good exercise. At the end of the day, it's just a tool. So it's not rocket science. So you can use it. You can put priority 1 and then 3 and get rid of the 2, because finally it's more complicated than S that you expected at the beginning. So again, I will share the link. Please use it. It's on Airtable, it's open, and please give me your feedback, and you can also help me to build a better one. Number 4, communication. Again, it seems really obvious, but it's not in most companies. So you need to communicate, and communicate again. Basically, you need to over-communicate your roadmap and updates to your team and your stakeholders. So how do we do that at Deezer? So first of all, I like to use a good communication tool. So a lot of time we use roadmap at Product and Tech. I don't like so much the roadmap where you put timing, because again, as costing as always false, roadmap as most of the time false. So I much prefer what I call a 2.0 roadmap. So you can, I give one example from Wade Shearer from Workfront. And by the way, you can go see this talk. It's really awesome. I would put the link also at the end of the presentation. But basically, it's all based about your vision, your strategy, and your objective. So coming back to the previous team, your objective is to welcome new members. So you put this objective and then you put some projects. So improve your registration funnel, or change your UI, or change the messaging of the first days. Sorry, this is the kind of things that you can put. And it's much more objective oriented than just time oriented, which is by the way what you expect. You expect results and not so much respect of timing. From my perspective, I mean, sometimes you have hard deadline, so maybe for hard deadline you manage it in a different way, but for objectives, this is what you need to do. Then also you need to share updates with your stakeholders, and a lot of time. So at Deezer, we are pretty lucky because we work with product marketing managers with a great team, and they help us to transform our features to story. So a lot of product managers have story to tell. They implement a feature, they want to talk about it, but it's not because you have a story to tell that you know how to tell a story. And product marketing manager help us to be closer to people so they understand what we do, and closer to the marketing so the marketing can talk about our feature. We are doing also weekly breakfast at Deezer that are a forum where we can go and talk about our evolution. We do also product roadmap events or roadshows. So every time that we change our roadmap, we do some events, and now it's online. It works the same to explain progress and what we deliver. We have also 2 big rituals at Deezer. It's called the Kermesse and the quarter planning. This is where all the team met together to exchange about their objective for next quarter and also what they will deliver, so their quarterly roadmap. And I strongly encourage you to do a product newsletter to all your companies, especially if you're running a digital product, to explain what was delivered, when, and on what platform. We all know if you are working on several platforms that you will never be able to release something at the same time on Android, on iOS, on web, and on other platforms. So you need to inform people so they understand, because at the end of the day, it's complicated and it's tricky. So I imagine yourself between just behind your screen, and you should be like that. I'm sorry, I had to cover a lot of topic in 25 minutes and we are almost there. So I had to speed up. But in a nutshell, what I want you to take away is set up mission and objectives to your teams. It's really important and it drives performance. Use OKRs to align them and break silos once you have your team. You should organize collaboration within your product team with events, with various people like product ops. You need to set up your feedback channel and have a consistent way to welcome feedback. You need to use a prioritization matrix to start to prioritize things in a way that is common for everyone, that you can share to your whole company. I forgot to mention that, but still, if your prioritization matrix is open, you can share it to the company and explain why something won't be delivered or why something will be delivered, and over communicate your results is really important. People need to understand. And if it's something obvious from your perspective, it's probably not to stakeholders like sales, for example, that are really important for product. That's it for me. Some homework. So the link for intercom intermission, the prioritization metric that you can try, and the talk about teach your team to learn. If you have any question, please feel free to answer it now or connect with me on social networks.
Great, excellent. Well, thank you very much for that. I think your slides were visually very nice to look at, as well as very informative. So I hope everyone else agrees. We will quickly jump to one question, but if people do have any others, please send them in and we can address them later on in the breakout rooms. But one question that came in was just, how do you marry the prioritization matrix versus planning the direction for the product? E.g., avoid incrementalism and make sure that the product is moving in the right direction?
Yeah, it's a good question. So first of all, from my perspective, a product initiative that is in a metric should not be done until you are satisfied with the result. So one thing that you should avoid, and it's the number one trap that we are all falling, is like, we want to ship new feature. We think that new feature will help and solve our issues or product and make us win, but sometimes it doesn't, sorry. And I would suggest that until a product initiative is not really solved, so you have one issue and for example, one conversion metric is not good, until it's not solved, you put it there. So it will remain something important unless your CEO or yourself change the priority of the company. And sometimes, I mean, if the priority change and it's not about, I don't know, acquisition, but really about retention, your priority, at some point you should be able to change your priority, because this is also what agility is.